I'm going to talk a little bit about what I call feedback meetings. And I read a book last summer for school that was called Creating Cultures of Thinking that had a lot of different ideas about how to foster greater creativity and kind of like deeper thinking among students. It was not specific to math, but one of the things that was in there, I just made a really quick bit.ly at the top if you want to read the account of the teacher that's in that book, who talks about how he came up with feedback meetings. So it's definitely going to be a more detailed version of what I'm going to talk about. But the main idea of that was in that book that I really was fascinated by was some thinking about things you really hate to do as a teacher. Like, what is the thing that drains you the most? You're like, oh, I don't want to, like, this sucks, and I just, like, need to get through it, but it's terrible. And I think for a lot of us, it's great. Right? Like, it's the thing that you just, at least for me, I put off forever, like, just do it because I have to, but, like, just feels terrible. And something that was really resonated for me in the book is the idea that it's not always about the thing that takes the least amount of time. It's not always about efficiency in terms of what, like, makes you passionate or drives you. It's also about energy use. So things that invigorate you, even if they take a little bit longer, may actually be more sustaining for you as a teacher over time. And so thinking about that, turning that on its end, about grading, because I always try to do grading the most efficient possible way because it's super obnoxious and I just want to get it done. What if instead of doing it that way, I did it in a way that was the most rewarding for me? And so how I did that is, instead of grading at home in the evenings by myself, sadly, I schedule meetings with my students. Depending on my course load, I do admin stuff, so I don't have, I think, as many students as other people. So I was able to do it with single students. In the book, they talk about doing this with 2 students, even 3 students at the same time. They have a rotating schedule. Every 2 weeks, they have a meeting scheduled with me during either before school, during their lunch period, we have a tutorial time twice a week, or after school. At that time, they come in. We look at the work that they've done over the last 2 weeks. So their homework, looking at their classwork, their notebook. I talk to them about their work, so I grade their work with them while they're there. In the beginning of the year, I kind of take notes in my grade book while I'm talking to them. Later in the year, they take their own notes that they then email me so I can tell them what notes they've written down, so that I know that they're understanding my feedback to them. And I kind of change the focus of the session. So in the beginning of the year, we really just look at, let's look at your homework. How did you do these problems? What does your work look like? Are you checking your answers? Are you understanding things that are happening in class? Like really just basic, what are my expectations for you as a student? And then later sessions, I might be looking at, what's your overall progress? How have you been doing quizzes and tests? Are you studying? Are you seeking out help? Are you working on the things that I told you to work on the last time we met? So there's a follow-up on previous sessions. And I found, after doing this for a year, that it was really transformative for me as a teacher. I felt like I knew my students so much better because I actually talked to them one-on-one outside of class. I was able to follow up on things that happened in class that I wasn't sure if they understood something or I was concerned about. They felt like they knew what I wanted from them as a teacher. A lot of times I realized that when I wrote feedback in written form, that a lot of students either didn't read it or didn't know what I meant, and this was a chance for us to actually talk and have that same feedback be spoken somehow made it so much more powerful for them. I also felt like I had way fewer students that were slipping through the cracks that were kind of doing okay, but I kind of never really did anything about it, because they weren't super struggling, but maybe weren't doing that great. This kind of caught all those students. And I also allowed me to give a lot more assignments that had writing components, because in the past those would take me so long to grade, and I couldn't give another one until I graded the previous one. So basically I gave 2 of them a year, because that's how long it would take me to get them back. And now that the grading cycle, it kind of forced me to get those done more rapidly, I could give more of those kind of tasks. Students said at the feedback meetings, it tied as the most useful thing that happened in my class this year, in their feedback at the end of the year for what they enjoyed about my class or what they felt contributed to their learning. This was basically tied for the #1 thing that they enjoyed. Happy to chat more if you're curious about how you might do this. You can tweet at me. I have my blog has a post on it from earlier in the year where I kind of talk through in more detail. And happy to chat about this.